Recruitment process. By the end of this video, you should be able to identify the typical recruitment process for an organisation and explain the typical recruitment process for an organisation. Okay, let's start with an example. Bee has a honey shop. Bee is currently employing 2 worker bees. However, one worker bee has decided to hand in their notice and tells Bee that they're leaving. What does Bee need to do now as part of the process of finding a new employee? It may be advisable now to pause the video and write down the steps that you think Bee would have to take to find a new worker bee. When you've done that, unpause the video and I'll take you through the logical process that typically happens with the recruitment process. The first stage that you may come across is the identifying of a vacancy. Bee needs to work out what job actually has come available. What was the job that the worker bee actually did who handed in their notice? Does Bee need an exact replacement for their worker bee with the same skills? Or is Bee going to look for somebody who can do something slightly different? For example, Bee may now be looking for somebody that not only can jar the honey, but can also work on the website and update the web page, where the previous worker bee didn't have these skills. Once Bee has identified the vacancy, then Bee needs to create what's known as the job description. Now, the job description will describe the role which is going to be advertised, and that will be the role or the job which will be undertaken by the new successful applicant. This is going to list all the key information which needs to be undertaken in the role. It includes the skills that the new bee should have, it includes the pay that we paid, it includes the number of hours they'll have to work, and the responsibilities as well as who they are accountable to. It may also list any extra fringe benefits that the worker bee may have. These are additional benefits that you may get as well as payment. For example, a pension scheme or a mobile phone. Once Bee has created a job description, Bee then will look to create what's known as the personal specification. The personal specification needs to explain what the ideal person will have who takes on that job role. Now, in this case, we're looking for a new worker bee, and it's going to set out what that worker bee would ideally be like. For example, it will explain what qualifications the worker bee should have. It will explain what skills and traits they may have. It will also maybe list what experience the worker bee may have. Typically, you may list this document with desired and essential. So essential is what you must have, where desired is what will make you look a little bit better. Of course, this will then be used to help to identify the best candidates for the job. Only now, at this point, can Bee advertise the job, because Bee now knows what sort of worker they are looking for and what the job role actually requires. They'll ensure the advert is accurate, and at this point now, Bee should hopefully only get applicants from worker bees who actually want to do the job in question, and they know exactly what's been asked of them. Bee, of course, gets a choice on what to do. Bee could advertise internally, so that would mean they look inside the business for a worker. They could ideally pin up something on a notice board. That could be just an advert asking if anybody knows anybody who would like a job as a worker bee. Or it could even be an internal promotion for somebody who works in the shop already. Alternatively, Bee could look for some new candidates and some new talent and ideas for their business, and they would advertise externally. That means in a newspaper, maybe on a website. Of course, externally is typically more expensive than internally. However, the benefit tends to be that if you advertise externally, you get a wider field of applicants, and as a result, Bee will get some new ideas to tap into, whereas internally, they already know the culture of the organisation and typically don't bring any new ideas. Of course, you can evaluate that in another angle and suggest that external candidates may not be aware of the culture that Bee has set in the organisation, and may not last long in the organisation if they don't adapt to the culture, which internal candidates, of course, are aware of. Also, offering promotion is a great motivational tool. Now, hopefully, B has had lots of applicants who apply for the job. Because B's had lots of applicants, he needs to shortlist. What B is doing at shortlisting is selecting the best applicants to invite for an interview. This is because physically it takes a lot of time to interview candidates and you don't want to be interviewing everyone. So what B will do is look at who filled the application form incorrectly, who filled their CV incorrectly, and also maybe who completed the best covering letter, and then we'll pile those people up who B believes have got the best possible attributes to do the job, and we'll call those to interview. They have made the shortlist. All the other candidates will go in a separate pile and won't be asked to attend an interview. At the interview stage, B will ask all the candidates typically the same question. These same questions will then be scored against a set criteria. This helps B to ensure that the recruitment process is fair and accurate. Additionally, this also helps B to avoid any potential legal issues that may arise in the future. For example, B knows that if the same questions were asked and the same scoring criteria is used, then it's easy to prove that the recruitment process was fair should anybody challenge that process. The worker bee with the highest score will get the appointment and the job. Of course, B will need to make an offer to that highest score candidate, hoping that the first choice candidate will accept that offer. If so, they'll be appointed to the role. If not, then B would typically offer it to the person who had the second highest score. Of course, the process doesn't actually stop there. B then needs to think about training the successful applicant to ensure that they're able to do the job. However, typically, you have now completed the recruitment process. So what are your thoughts on that process? What do you think the advantages are of using a process like that? And what do you think are the drawbacks of a process like that? What I'd like to do is finish this video at this point now, where you can think about those questions and maybe even post your thoughts below in the comments section. In the future, I'll make an additional video where I cover the answers to those questions. Until next time, keep buzzing. Thanks for checking out the BeeBusinessBee YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the subscribe button down below to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. It's @BeeBusinessBee. Also, give the Facebook page a like. It's facebook.com/BeeBusinessBee. And lastly, don't forget to check out the online hive of activities found on BeeBusinessBee.co.uk, full of quizzes, activities and resources. And remember, until next time, keep buzzing.